So you're thinking about running, but not sure how to take the first step. My name is Brian Patterson, and I'm here to help. Welcome to Brian's RunPod. Hey there, runners and listeners. Welcome back to Brian's RunPod, and I'm your host, Brian Patterson, and I've got a fantastic episode lined up for you today. We've got something special, Brian's RunPod first. Today, I'm not interviewing just one amazing guest, but two. That's right, folks. These two incredible runners have graced our show before, but this time they're joining us together. They're not just great runners, they're great friends too. And I thought, why not bring them back and see what magic happens when they're on together? Our first guest is Jon Beeson, who appeared way back in episode 12 and has been chomping at the bit to come back on the show. And a recent guest, Paul Butler, who was on episodes 71 and 72. We talk all things running, and seeing as it's an Olympic year, we discuss our experience of watching this multi-sport event over the years. Again, I've broken the episode into two, and in our second episode, I give the guys a quiz about the Olympics. So sit back, lace up your running shoes, and if you're out for a run, and let's dive into another brilliant episode of Brian's RunPod with these two wonderful guests. Hello, both of you. How are you both?
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Brian. Yeah, no, very good. Thank you.
Very good.
So, Jon, starting with you, let us, get us up to date with what your running journey is.
I was trying to remember. I should have re-listened to the podcast, shouldn't I? But I think last time we met, I was not running. I think actually, well, anyway, I could be wrong, but I think I was post-surgery, but hadn't really got back into running. I think that was where I was. So I had a problem with my hip. Yeah, I had hip impingement, which meant in my left hip, which just meant when I ran, it was very painful during it and after it. So, I wouldn't be able to walk for like a day afterwards. So had surgery on that just after Easter last year, so 2023. And I think we did the podcast in the summer. I could be wrong. So I was probably tentatively getting back into running at that stage. So yeah, it's a lot better. So it's just over a year since I had the surgery.
Right.
I always aim to do the Cabbage Patch, so the 10-mile Cabbage Patch Run between Twickenham, Kingston and Richmond, which I did. So I did that in, is it November? October, towards the end of October. So I did that. That was, and it was really good actually having a target, because basically the weeks preceding up to doing the race, I sort of did a mile further every time, and then up to sort of doing the 10 miles on the race day. And actually I did it in about 3 minutes quicker than I thought I would. So that was good. And I've hit a bit of a plateau, if I'm being honest. Or actually maybe I'll be a bit more honest, a bit of a downhill slope, because I haven't had anything to sort of train for. So
are you running sort of on a regular basis? Do you do, a couple of times a week, or are you?
Yeah. So I mean, I did the Cabbage Patch, and then I did carry on sort of running probably once or twice a week up until Christmas. And then just Christmas, I had a bit of not a problem with the hip, but I think I had a problem with my sort of plantar fasciitis. And then the weather was rubbish. I'm just going to call it out. I just got in that, the voices in your head saying, don't go out, Jon, it's too wet and windy. And I like to go out before work. So if it's very wet and windy. So but it's probably from April onwards, I've been doing probably 2 a week. We went to Spain half-term week, so 2 weeks ago, with my brother and his family. And we did 2 runs there, 2 runs last week. Actually, 3 runs last week. So I'm trying now to get back into it.
Oh, good. Excellent. So I'm suffering with the old policeman's heel.
Yeah.
So I haven't been. So what did you find? Did you do any treatment, or did you go to a podiatrist, or did you go to a physio? Or
no, because the first time I had policeman's heel or plantar fasciitis, I actually went to the walk-in centre because I thought I'd broken something in my foot or my heel, because it's such an odd pain. It really feels like it feels like you shattered something in your foot. So anyway, I went there, and he always straight away just said, "You've got plantar fasciitis." So with me, I normally I now know when it's coming, so you can sort of feel a tension. For me, it's a tension in the sort of lower calf Achilles that then becomes the heel pain.
Yeah.
So I have a little rolly. You've probably got one little spiky rolly thing that I roll my foot on and then I sit.
Golf ball.
Yeah, it's a similar type thing. And just try and lie back and point your heel, towards you as much as you can, to just keep doing that, and then dipping on the stairs. So if I do that and I get it early, I won't get it bad. But if I'm silly and go running on it and don't stretch, then I can really trigger it, and it will take weeks. And that's what I had back in January.
Right. Okay.
But touch wood, it hasn't flared up since. So when I get it, I just stop running, ice it, ibuprofen, stretch.
You don't do because I've been doing the cross trainer at the gym. Yeah, David Lloyd, and sort of. I'm kind of quite enjoying that.
So rather than running?
Rather than running.
Yeah, you can do weights and cross trainer, rowing, things like that. I mean, it is something very specific about walking or running that triggers it. So any other exercise that is aerobic is fine.
Have you had that, Paul?
No, I've always been quite lucky really with that. I think maybe just briefly when I got my mileage up 15 years ago or something like that. But not really had it recurring. So
all right.
So I think myself lucky with that one.
I mean, if you had any kind of like major injuries, or have you just been quite lucky?
Pretty lucky generally. I think when I did my last marathon, I got runner's knee really. But the mileage went up and I had to put a leg support on for a few weeks. Probably the sensible person in my head was saying, you shouldn't really be doing this marathon, Paul. But having got to, about 3 weeks out and got my mileage right up, I was quite reluctant not to. So I knew I had something there that was a problem. And I stuck the knee support on and the knee support on and kept going. But apart from that, I've always been quite lucky, really. I can't really say I've been injured when I've been running badly, not really pulled anything. I seem to be, touch wood, pretty resistant. I know I've got quite tough.
Paul, do you stretch a lot? Because I never stretch. I know I never stretch properly, warm down properly.
Not as much as I should.
Okay.
No.
I didn't know if you were sort of particularly disciplined at that.
If I'm doing a class at the gym or boot camp, then I will stretch as a part of that, because the discipline of the instructor is to get me to stretch afterwards. And I'll sit and I'll do it. But actually, when I finish running, I am not very good at spending time looking after myself in terms of stretching or warming down or anything like that. I'm not very good at things that I perceive are holding me back from getting on with my day. And there's a bit of that when you finish your run, you just want to get in the shower and then crack on with what's next. So I would say I'm not, if you're looking for somebody to talk about best practice of looking after yourself after a run, then you've come to the wrong place, really. Unfortunately. So I don't tend to do any real stretching. So.
All right. I mean, Jon, you've known Paul for quite a long time, and you've heard of, I couldn't believe that in 10 weeks you went from nothing to doing a marathon. Is that right? That was it when you, because your dad rang you up and said, or was it less than 10 weeks? Or
it was
something?
8, I think. Yeah.
I think it was 8.
Yeah.
And he did it in, because I remember you being quite impressed with his times, something 3 hours, something.
First one I did was 3:39. Yeah. And that was the one I did off 8 weeks. Yeah. But I was a young man then. Brian.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it now.
No. We were full of boundless energy there.
Yeah.
Well, so some people, I think Paul probably is just a more natural runner than I am. I'm not springy. I'm more ploddy. Yeah. And I do just think some people's bodies will be more so, and it may well, and I suspect you were, and don't take this the wrong way, a slightly more stealthy, not stealthy, svelte individual. I'm sure you were more stealthy, but more svelte individual. And I just think some people just run well, don't they? It's just, like some people are great sprinters. I suspect Paul's just got a natural ability to run long distance.
Yeah. Your fast twitch and your slow twitch.
I think I'm quite suited to longer distances, but I don't do many now. Most of the stuff I do is sort of generally exercise-wise is less than 45 minutes. I very rarely do more than 45 minutes of cardio. I mean, anyone can go now. So things have changed quite a lot, really. It would be interesting to see, and I have put in for the marathon next year, if I did get a place, how my body adapted to doing that, actually. Yeah, I suspect it would be a lot more difficult for me now than it was 15 years ago or 17 years ago. So.
Do you think, as we're getting older, you're kind of more attracted to doing or having to do other sports, other cardio? I don't know. Is that a question to both of you? I mean,
so I think for me, yes, actually. Yeah. I think I always have enjoyed my running, but actually when you get a gym membership, there's always that thing of the opportunity cost. So if you've got a gym membership, going to run in a park means you can't really use the gym on that day. So there is that little bit of, it's an either or, a little bit, particularly when you get tired, if you do 2 hours of exercise a day, for instance, you get very tired. So I certainly do. And I can't manage it time-wise anyway. So there's a little bit now of, it's either or, and therefore the running is taking a little bit more of a backseat these days. And it certainly, when I was in my 30s, I was running 6 days a week without thinking about it. And it was a part of my life, And then I became, and actually running is a funny thing, because if you're on your own and you're running, and a lot of people talk about the benefits of running and mental health, but if you're running with an illness, i.e. depression, and you've got a problem with intrusive thoughts and your brain ticking over and what you call rumination,
right?
Running on your own is not particularly good.
Yeah, that's a good
for
point.
A long period of time. So that was probably one of the main reasons why I changed to doing more group exercise, because
it's interesting.
Then you've got company and you've got other people to bounce off, and you're spending a little bit more time with a bit of banter and maybe bizarrely being a bit more mindful, which seems odd when, we're blessed with what we've got blessed with around here, but it does sort of stop your mind from wandering when you're with other people as well. So there's a bit of that with me, is that I enjoy, the group exercise, classes, music, and, changing the exercises up and running up and down hill and different lengths of repetitions and things like that, and the variation that goes with it as well. So, yeah.
So do you agree with that, John, that if you're on your own and if you've got problems like at work or whatever, then they tend to fester, and it's kind of like Paul was saying, it's like to build.
I think, but Paul you're specifically talking about depression, which I guess is it's a different beast, sort of work issues. I mean, I miss playing team sports, so I really, really miss playing sort of, at school I played cricket, rugby, and played sort of football outside of school. But so I do miss that. But I'm not a massive fan of those sort of group exercises. When I see those boot camp things, I think, oh no, I wouldn't like being shouted at by someone to do squat thrust. So I think for me, I quite like the solace of running. So actually, if work or whatever part of your life is, I guess it's an opportunity to think stuff through. Because although to be honest, I tend to listen to podcasts or music or something. But there are, even if you listen to music, if it's, you can zone out a bit. So actually quite often I get quite useful thoughts when I'm out running. And I think I have actually stopped before, got my phone out and taken a couple of notes, because actually that I haven't thought about that, or an idea to potential sort of solution to an issue. So, I mean, I partly because I wasn't running for so long because of the surgery, and also I'm a later convert to running than I think I am than Paul is. I'm really keen to get back running. I do have a gym membership and I do go once a week, but that's more for sort of weights and, maybe a bit of rowing or something like that. Yeah, running. I'm pretty happy running. And also, sadly, it's the stats as well. I do get a bit into the stat. Well, how many miles have I done this month? So, maybe that would change. But I think just because of the hips, and the hip surgery was very specifically about 2 things. I haven't really done the second one, but the one thing was I really missed running. So, the wanting to get it fixed, probably that was the main driver. But also playing football with my son. Actually, we need to get back doing that, don't we? Because Paul's son, Adam, and Edward, my son, and I We used to play down at the green. And it was probably those two things that thought, actually, I do need to get this fixed because, I was in my early 40s and not being able to do quite basic things. So, for me, getting back running was the key priority.
Yeah. I mean, going back to that group thing, I mean, I had a personal training. I mean, I know it's on a one-to-one with a personal trainer. Maybe I'm so used to doing my own thing in the gym, but someone else telling me or shouting at me to do something, I kind of went, oh, no, maybe. And anyway, I got injured after that. So, but that's,
I'm probably benefit from it actually, because I think I'm probably quite naive in how I work out when I go to the gym.
Yeah,
I'm sure I am. Because when I talk to friends who are just, leaner and buffer than I am, they do very different stuff to what I do. A lot more sort of squatting and
compound.
Yeah. I don't tend to do that. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a time thing or maybe it's an attitude thing. But something like yoga, I know I should probably do because I'm not flexible. I don't have great core strength. And I probably would benefit from a personal trainer.
Yeah.
I might take the plunge at some point, but I'll just it's a journey. I'll get in
I think the thing with a personal trainer is it gives you ideas that you can take back into your training. In terms of varying things and building week to week, in terms, and setting about things in the right way in terms of creating that continued addition of weight or continued addition of reps, so you're challenging your body in the right way. That's what I found that I learned quite a lot about the approach to the gym. And one of the big things was always plan what you're going to do before you go in with a plan, get it done and come out again. Don't go in there and sit around for hours like you see a lot of people doing on various machines. But these are the exercises you want to get through today. Give yourself 50 minutes, get them done, and off you go. Use the time productively. And that I think was, for me, quite a useful learning from just spending time with a personal trainer, about even a lot of the ins and outs of nutrition and things like that, although you wouldn't know it looking at me at the moment. But he gave me an awful lot of ideas to work with nutrition as well. So I think it's useful.
I think Paul's right. I mean, I would definitely benefit from that. So any personal trainers listening, please do reach out, particularly if it's a discounted rate. But I think that the other thing is, it's that accountability, isn't it? It's that thing of, if I go to gym my own, I will tend to operate within my comfort zone.
Yes,
and whether that's the weights that you're pulling or pushing, or how the difficulty level on the rowing machine or the speed on the treadmill or whatever, it's I will do it to get my heart rate up, but I'm not doing it to get. Which is interesting. I tend not to do that when I'm running. And with running, I'm quite good at saying, right, we're going to do interval training. I'm going to really push myself.
Right, yeah.
But in the gym, I don't know what it is. I tend to sort of operate within a fairly, Jon specific comfort zone. And I think that's where a personal trainer would say, no, do another couple of sets now, push it up. And maybe that's partly driven by the fact that my body's let me down a bit in the last few years, just in terms of breaking down. That you think, well, actually, maybe just go easy. But
But I remember you telling me, I mean, on just to change it tact a bit, but I remember you telling me that you got into exercise because you're a lot heavier.
Yeah, I was nearly 20 stone there.
Right, yeah.
So about 5 stone more than I am now.
So was that kind of first nutrition and then the exercise? Combined thing?
I am a firm believer that you lose weight in the kitchen, you get fit in the gym.
That's right.
So, I mean, there is clearly a link, because I do think if you're exercising regularly, often that will have positive impacts on your mental state, and then you're less likely to turn to food if you're one of those individuals that turns to food or views food as a sort of comfort bringer. So I think there is that link, but for me, losing significant weight was food. I was eating too much, and the thing is, once you lose weight, you're able to exercise more. So if you're 20 stone and you try and go running, it's hard, really hard on your knees, your ankles, hips, back, everything.
Yeah.
You sweat more. You're more conscious about your physical appearance and wobbling about. So, the more you lose weight, the easier it is to exercise, the better you feel about it. It's a really positive circle that you can get in.
No, totally agree with you. Well, I did say, or when I sent out the WhatsApp or whatever, that seeing as it is a very special year, it's an Olympic year, I thought it would be great to have your thoughts about the Olympics.
We thought we were doing the Euros. Brian, you've got to communicate better than this. No, okay, sure.
Because we are on the eve. Is it the Euros start tomorrow, isn't it?
It's very soon, is it? Next weekend, I think it might be.
Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So.
Anyway, let's jump ahead. Because you never... So, talking about the Olympics. So, first of all, just a starter is, I mean, growing up, were you enthusiastic about the Olympics, or what did it kind of? What did it mean to you?
Go on.
Yeah, so I used to read. I mean, I was into all sport when I was, probably around between 12 and 16, that type of age. And it was fueled obviously by a lot of the conversations at school and things like that as well, where everybody was into pretty much every sport. So I can very, very vividly remember, for example, Zola Budd and Mary Decker and the controversy around that, and Cohen Ovett going head to head, and the Los Angeles Olympics, I think, where Ovett, overcooked it basically and was unwell. I can remember an awful lot of those things, and Daley Thompson and Carl Lewis and those sorts of figures probably really still are there for me. And I think...
Who do you think was the better runner, Coe or Ovett?
I think Coe, really.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, okay. I just loved the way Ovett ran because he just made it look so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there was that. But a lot of top runners do, don't they?
Yeah.
When you're in Bushy Park and you see the Kenyans go past and they lob up past you doing 6-minute miles, it does make you realise some people are just naturally gifted.
They're on air. They're running on air or something.
Yeah. So I can really remember those Olympics, and I suppose there's that kind of awakening, your sporting awakening really at that age as well. Probably in your earlier childhood years, you've not been quite so aware of some of the sporting things that are going on around you because it's past your bedtime, or, other people aren't talking about it, or they're talking with other adults about it. And then all of a sudden, when your cohort start talking about sport, then the whole thing sort of becomes a part of you, if that makes sense.
That's right.
And, I think that went probably through the university years as well. And then actually, I think, when I started work, bizarrely, almost the Olympics faded a bit for me. Okay. So, I think it's primarily because there's other things of mental focus.
Yes.
That makes sense. Whereas, I used to sit there for hours and almost just, it used to be like wallpaper, because there was nothing else I was doing, I suppose, in my childhood years. It used to be something to occupy me, if that makes sense. And then I actually think when I started work, almost, by the time you'd gone to work, you'd come home, you'd had your dinner, you might absorb things in little chunks, but you weren't absorbing it day in, day out in the same way, perhaps. So I think it's changed for me in terms of, and maybe when I retire, it will change again, but it's the way you consume it has changed, I think, really. I still really enjoy sitting and watching, I can remember sitting and watching that night with Mo Farah, when
Saturday.
I mean, it was just incredible watching that, sitting here downstairs and watching that, for example. There are still moments that capture the imagination and you still enjoy watching, but...
Because there were a lot of years where we were in the doldrums, even if we got, I think in 76 in Montreal, we got one bronze medal.
Correct.
So there were really bad times,
Correct.
So, but what about you, John?
Yeah, it's similar to Paul. I think the way we view and I think, Paul, you said consume, the way we consume sport, entertainment now is completely different. So, I can remember, same as Paul, when the Olympics was on, it was a big deal. It was, and there wasn't the competition for your attention.
No.
It wasn't like there was Netflix and, Disney Plus and everything. It was, if you wanted to be entertained, you didn't have mobile phones. that was what you watched.
Yes.
And I can remember watching Grandstand as a kid.
Yeah.
You'd watch bowls,
Yes.
Well, my son can't get his head around this. It's like, no, that I can remember watching a bowls championship.
Yeah.
Darts.
Even darts. Even darts.
When you think about Grandstand, it used to be bowls, darts, rugby league.
Yeah. Remember all the Wigan and Widnes.
You'd be sitting watching Featherstone Rovers against somebody on a Saturday afternoon.
Keighley Cougars. Yeah.
With the latest scores.
Yeah.
The
ticker
Division 1 coming across on a ticker tape on the bottom of the screen as the goals went in. It's funny to think about that, but that was the way it was then. Is you would sit and watch a lot of sport that I wouldn't necessarily now focus on or prioritise watching. Touring car racing or stock cars or rallying.
That's right.
All sorts of different things. And really, it was very entertaining stuff. But I didn't, would I sit now and watch that? No.
I mean, for our international listeners, Grandstand was like a multi-sport program, and those are the days when the BBC could buy the rights.
Yeah.
To,
it wasn't a competition.
There wasn't a lot of competition. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that's a wrap for another exhilarating episode of Brian's RunPod. Thanks for tuning in, folks. As always, we've got your back with all things running. And next week, get ready for some awesome beginner hints and tips to kickstart your running journey. Oh, and before we sign off, exciting news. We're now available on YouTube. So whether you're pounding the pavement or chilling at home, you can catch us there too. Plus, we have a new feature on the podcast. You can now send me a message. Yep, you heard it right. Brian's RunPod has become interactive with the audience. If you look at the top of the episode description, tap on send us a text message. You can tell me what you think of the episode or alternatively, what you would like covered. If you're lucky, I might even read them out on the podcast. Hey, if you want to keep up with the latest updates, behind the scenes fun, and even some exclusive content, make sure to follow me on social media. You can find me on Twitter, or should I say X, at Brian's RunPod. We've also just launched a shiny new Facebook page. Simply search for Brian's RunPod and give us a like. And don't forget to hop on over to Instagram, where you can catch all our visual adventures at Brian's RunPod. For those of you who love diving deep into the episodes, head over to our website, www.briansrunpod.co.uk, and there you'll find detailed show notes, handy chapter markers, make it too easy to navigate through our favourite discussions. Please leave a review, as it will always help others find this podcast. Music is by Happy Days by Stock Audio, not forgetting artwork by Alice Patterson. Till next week, thanks again for listening.